At once there was a scraping noise, and the egg spilled open. The baby dragon flopped onto the table. It wasn't exactly pretty. Harry thought it looked like a crumpled black umbrella. Its spiny snout, with wide nostrils, the straw of horns, and buckling orange eyes. It sneezed. A couple of spurs flew out its snouts. "Isn't it beautiful?" Hagrid murmured. He reached out a hand to stroke the dragon's head. It snapped at his fingers, showing pointed fangs. "Bless him! He knows his mummy," said Hagrid. "Hagrid," said Hermione, "how fast do Norwegian respects grows exactly?" Hagrid was about to answer when the color suddenly drained from his face. He leaped to his feet and ran to the window. "What's the matter?" "Someone is looking through a gasp in the curtains. It's a kid. He's running back after the school." Harry bolted to the door and looked out. Even at a distance, there was no mistaking him. Malfoy had seen the dragon. Something about the smile lurking on Malfoy's face during the next week made Harry, Ron, and Hermione very nervous. They spent most of their free time in Hagrid's darkness hut, trying to reason with them. "Just let him go," Harry urged. "Set him free." "I can't," said Hagrid. "He's too little. He'd die." They looked at the dragon. It had grown 3 times in length in a week. Smoke kept rolling out of his nostrils. Hagrid hadn't been doing his gamekeeping duties because of the dragon was keeping him so busy. There were empty brandy bottles and chicken feathers all over the floor. "I've decided to call him Norbert," said Hagrid, looking at the dragon with misty eyes. "He really knows me now. Watch. Norbert, Norbert, where's Mommy?" "He's lost the marbles," Ron muttered in Harry's ear. "Hagrid," said Harry loudly, "give it 2 weeks and Norbert's going to be as long as your house. Malfoy could go to Dumbledore at any moment." Hagrid bit his lips. I know I can't keep him forever, but I can just dump it. I can't." Harry suddenly turned to Ron. "Charlie," he said. "You're losing it too," said Ron. "I'm Ron, remember?" "No, Charlie, your brother Charlie. In Romania, studying dragons. We could send Norbert there. Charlie can take care of him and then put him back in the wild." "Brilliant," said Ron. "How about it, Hagrid?" In the end, Hagrid agreed that they could send a note to Charlie to ask him. The following week dragged by. Wednesday night found Hermione and Harry sitting alone in the common room, long after everyone else had gone to bed. The clock on the wall had just chimed midnight when the portrait burst open. Ron appeared out of way nowhere, and he pushed off Harry's invisibility cloak. He had been down at Harry's house, helping him feed Norbert, who was now eating dead rats by the crate. "It bit me," he said, showing them his head, which was wrapped in a bloody handkerchief. "I'm not going to be able to hold a quill for a week, I tell you. That dragon's the most horrible animal I ever met. But the way Hagrid goes on about it, you'd think it was a fluffy little bunny rabbit. When it bit me, he told me off for frightening. And when I left, he was singing in a lullaby." There was a tap on the dark window. "It's Hedwig," said Harry, hurrying at her in. "She'll have Charlie's answer." The 3 of them put their heads together and read the note. "Dear Ron, how are you? Thanks for the letter. I'll be glad to take the Norwegian Ridgeback, but it won't be easy getting him here. I think the best thing will be to send him over with some friends of mine who are coming to visit me next week. Trouble is, they mustn't be seen carrying an illegal dragon. Could you get Ridgeback up the tallest tower of midnight on Saturday? They can meet you there and take him away while it's still dark. Send me an answer as soon as possible. Love, Charlie. They looked at one another. We've got invisibility cloak, said Harry. It shouldn't be too difficult. I think the cloak's big enough to cover two of us and Norbert. It was a mark of how bad the last week had been that the other two agreed with them. Anything to get rid of Norbert and Malfoy. There was a hitch. By the next morning, Ron's bitten hand had swollen to twice its usual size. He didn't know whether it's safe to go to Madame Pomfrey. Would she recognize a dragon bite? By the afternoon, though, he had no choice. The cut had burned a nasty shade of green. It looked as if Norbert's fangs were poisonous. Harry and Hermione rushed up to the hospital wing at the end of the day to find Ron in a terrible state in bed. "It's not just my hand," he whispered, "although that feels like it's about to fall off. Malfoy told Madame Pomfrey he wanted to borrow one of my books so he could come and have a good laugh at me. He kept threatening to tell her what really bit me. I told her it was a dog, but I don't think she believes me. I shouldn't have hit him at the Quidditch match. That's why he's doing this." Harry and Hermione tried to calm Ron down. "It'll all be over the midnight on Saturday," said Hermione, but this didn't smooth Ron at all. On the contrary, he sat bolt upright and broke into a sweat. "Midnight on Saturday," he said in a hoarse voice. Oh no, I've just remembered. Charlie's letter was on that book Malfoy took. He's going to know we're getting rid of Norbert." Harry and Hermione didn't get a chance to answer. Madame Pomfrey came over at the moment and made them leave, saying Ron needed sleep. "It's too late to change the plan now," Harry told Hermione. "We haven't got time to send Charlie another owl, and this could be our only chance to get rid of Norbert. We'll have to risk it, and we have got the invisibility cloak. Malfoy doesn't know about it." They found Fang, the birdnest, sitting outside in the bagged trail when they went to tell Hagrid, who opened a window to talk to them. "I won't let you in," he popped. "Norbert's a tricky stage, nothing I can't handle." When they told him about Charlie's letter, his eyes filled with tears, although that might have been because Norbert had just bitten him on the leg. "Ah! It's all right. He only got my boot, just plain. He's only a baby after all." A baby banged its tail on the wall, making the windows rattle. Harry and Hermione walked back to the castle, feeling thirsty. Saturday couldn't come quickly enough. They would have felt sorry for Hagrid when the time came for him to say goodbye to Norbert if they hadn't been so worried about what they had to do. It was a very dark, cloudy night, and they were a bit late arriving at Harry's hut because they had to wait for Peeves to get that out of their way in the entrance hall, where he'd been playing tennis against the wall. Hagrid had Norbert's packed and ready in a large crate. He's got lots of fat and some brandy for the journey, said Hagrid in a muffled voice. And I've packed his teddy bear in case he gets lonely. From inside the crate came ripping noises that sounded to Harry as though the teddy was having his head torn off. Baba, Norbert, Harry sobbed, and Harry and Hermione covered the crate with the invisibility cloak and stepped underneath it themselves. Mummy will never forget you. How they managed to get the crate back up to the castle, they never knew. Midnight ticked nearer as they moved Norbert up the marble staircase in their entrance hall and along the dark corridors. Up another staircase, then another. Even one of Harry's shortcuts didn't make the work much easier. Nearly there, Harry panted as they reached the corridor beneath their tallest tower. Then a sudden movement ahead of them made them almost drop the crate. Forgetting that they were already invisible, they shrank into the shadows, staring at the dark outline of two people gasping with each other 10 feet away. A lamp fluttered. Professor McGonagall in a turn black bathrobe and a hairnet had Malfoy by the ear. "Temptation," she shouted, "and 20 points from Slytherin, wandering around in the middle of the night. How dare you!" "You don't understand, Professor. Harry Potter's coming. He's got a dragon." "What utter rubbish! How dare you tell such lies? Come on, I shall see Professor Snape about you, Malfoy." The steep spiral staircase up to the top of the tower seemed the easiest thing in the world after that. Not until they stepped out into the cold air did they throw the cloak, glad to be able to breathe properly again. Hermione chirped a sort of joke. "Malfoy's got intention. I could sing, don't," Harry advised her. Chuckling about Malfoy, they waited, Norbert thrashing about in his crate. About 10 minutes later, 4 broomsticks came swooping down at the out of darkness. Charlie's friend was a cheery lot. They showed Harry and Hermione the harness they rigged up, so they could suspend Norbert between them. They all helped buckle Norbert safe into it, and then Harry and Ron shook hands with the others and thanked them very much. At last, Norbert was gone. They slipped back down the spiral staircase, their hearts as light as their hands. Now the Norbert was off them. No more dragons. Malfoy indentation. What could spoil their happiness? The answer to that was waiting at the foot of the stairs. As they stepped into the corridor, Filch's face loomed suddenly out of the darkness. Well, he whispered, "we're in trouble." They'd filled the invisibility cloak on top of the tower.